Kunjabihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Radha Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Sri Radhe Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Kala Sanji Radha Kala Sanji Sri Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. If we can read the next two verses, the Sanskrit and English together, please. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devyam sarasvatim vasam tato jayam udirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayashe abreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamasoke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who's praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Migantimarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Shakshuranmitiham Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 9, and this is Dhruva Maharaj returns home, right? And so Dhruva has met the Lord. He's gotten the benediction for having his own planet, and now he's spoke to Narad. Narad gave him instructions. He followed those instructions. The Lord appeared, said, "Here you go." And so today we're going to hear about how Dhruva's afterthoughts. He just got done with so many different prayers to the Lord, and now the Lord is left, and now here's his afterthoughts. So let's start there at 27.
Hare Krishna. Text 27. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home.
What? Dhruva, you just saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What's going on? Hey.
Sri Vidura inquired, "My dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotional service, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Dhruva Maharaj achieved this position even in one life, and he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased?"
Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and thus when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind.
Dhruva Maharaj thought to himself, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, who practiced Astanga Yoga in trance, attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet only after many, many births. Within 6 months, I achieved the same result. Yet, due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position.
Alas, just look at me. I'm so unfortunate. I approached the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of repetition of birth and death, but still out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable.
Since all the demigods who were situated since all the demigods who are situated in higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by my devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of Sage Narada. Dhruva Maharaj lamented, I was under the influence of illusionary energy. Being ignorant of the actual facts, I was sleeping on her lap. Under a vision of duality, I saw my brother as my enemy, and I falsely lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies.
It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in my case, although I have satisfied the Super Soul of the whole universe, I have prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like treatment given to a person who is already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am. For in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death, I have prayed for the same condition again.
Because of this state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, although the Lord offered me his personal service, I wanted material name, fame, and prosperity. My case is just like that of the poor man when he satisfied the great emperor who wanted to give him anything he might ask. Out of ignorance, asked only a few broken grains of husked rice.
Paucity means like just small, so little amount, insignificant.
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, persons like you who are pure devotees of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can offer liberation, and who are always attached to the honey of his lotus feet, are always satisfied in serving at the lotus feet of the Lord. In any condition of life, such persons remain satisfied, and thus they never ask the Lord for material prosperity.
Okay, thank you. We will go to 29. Before we go to 29, maybe we can just kind of appreciate these verses. I was appreciating that Dhruva Maharaj, his humility, and is that I have done nothing good with this position I'm in. I didn't follow the instructions of Narad. I got to see the Lord, but all I was desiring was these material benedictions or these material desires. But the amazing thing is that Dhruva actually got this darshan of the Lord and this experience because of his humility of following Narad's instruction. He did say the first instructions, yes, I can't do that. But then Narad gave him further instructions, and he said, okay, I can do this. And so this did give him to the position of being able to see the Lord. He mentions in one of the verses that through Ashtanga Yoga, one of the sages had met the Lord after many, many births. But he says, within 6 months, I achieved the same result. And we can understand that the reason he received those results so quickly was because of the instructions of Narada Muni and him following those. So let's go to 27, and we'll read this, 29, right? And Srila Prabhupada gives us a nice long purport here. We're going to get to dissect. Maitreya Uvacha Matu Sapatanya Vagbanir Matu Sapatanya Vagbanir Hirde Vidas Tutan Smaran Hirde Vidas Tutan Smaran Nachihan Mukti Patir Muktim Nachyan Mukti Patir Muktim Tasmat Tapam Upehivan Tasmat Tapam Upehivan. Bolo, please. Vidas Tutan Smaram Nachyam Mukti Patir Muktim Tasmat Tapam Upevivan Maitreya Uvacha Matu Saptan Bhagadbanir Hirde Vidas Tutan Smaram Ichan Mukti Patir Muktim Asmat Tapam Upeyuvan. One more? Good job. Treya Uvacha Matu Saptana Vagbanir Hirde Vidas Tutan Smaram Nachan Mukti Patir Muktim Tasmat Tapam Upeyivan. Before we go to the word for word, any words here that we recognize? Raise your hand if you recognize any of these words. Mukti. What's mukti? Liberation, right? Hirdi? Hirdi. The heart, right? The heart. Which one? Smaran. Remembering. Uvacha. Who's that? Saying, right? Good job. I heard somebody, what? Vag? Where was that? Oh, Vag. Okay, Vag Banir. What's Banir? No? We'll see, I guess. I was thinking that tapam means a sacrifice, right? It's going to mean some kind of sacrifice? Austerity? Some kind of austerity? Tapas? Okay, let's see how we did. Word for... Wait again. Okay, let's all together. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya replied, Matu, of his mother, Sa Patanya, of his co-wife, Vak Banane, by the arrows of harsh words, Hirde, in the heart, Vidyaha, pierced, 2, then, Tan, all of them, Smaram, remembering, Na, not Achirhat, desire, Mukti Patahe, from the Lord whose lotus feet give liberation, Muktim, salvation, Tasmat, therefore, Tapam, grief, Upeyivan, he suffered. How did we do? Not bad, huh? Tapam is not austerity, I'll tell you. Ta must be something. Okay. Translation And purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and this, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. Maybe we can read the translation all together. Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and thus, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. Okay, so this purport has 10 paragraphs. Yay! We get to hear lots from Srila Prabhupada. So what we'll do is we'll kind of break this down and talk about it in between. So if somebody could read the first 2 paragraphs, please. Oh, let's use. Would you mind using the mic right there? Thank you. Appreciate that.
This important verse has been discussed by many stalwart commenters. Why
was Dhruva Maharaj not very pleased, even after achieving the goal of life he desired? A pure devotee is always free from any kind of material desires. In the material world, one's material desires are almost demonic. One thinks of others as one's enemy. One thinks of revenge against one's enemy. One aspires to become the topmost leader or topmost person in this material world, and thus one competes with all others.
This has been described in the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, as Arsrik. A pure devotee has no demand from the Lord. His only concern is to serve the Lord sincerely and seriously, and he is not at all concerned about what will happen in the future. In the Mukunda Mata Stotra, King Kulakshekara, author of the book, states in his prayer, My dear Lord, I don't want any position of sense gratification within this material world. I simply want to engage in your service perpetually. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya in his Shiksha Ashtakam also prayed, My Lord, I do not want any amount of material wealth. I do not want any number of materialistic followers, nor do I want any attractive wife to enjoy. The only thing I want is that I may engage life after life in your service. Lord Chaitanya did not pray even for mukti or liberation.
Is this your brother right here? Can you let your brother read just a little bit more? I was appreciating him really there.
In this verse, Maitreya replied to Vidura that Dhruva Maharaj, influenced by a revengeful attitude towards her insulting stepmother, did not think of mukti, nor did he know what mukti was. Therefore, he failed to aim for mukti as his goal of life.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Actually, for this one, we were just going to stop at the first paragraph. That was my fault. I said the first and second one. Okay, in this first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is describing how Dhruva is upset. He just saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's upset. He's lamenting, right? He's ashamed, even. And Srila Prabhupada says in this purport that the pure devotee is always free from material desires. And so he's explaining that these material desires can be seen as demonic or asuric, right? And what material desires are those? To lord it over the material nature, right? I want to be the leader. I want my fame. I want my wealth. I'm willing to do anything to get these sense gratification or these material desires. So, but Srila Prabhupada explains that the pure devotee has no demand from the Lord. So we can see that this is some of the lamentation of Dhruva Maharaj, because he did have a demand from the Lord. Okay, let's keep continuing with that second paragraph, please. What's your name?
Raj.
What is it?
Reanch.
Please keep going. Go ahead.
Therefore, therefore he felt to aim for mukti as his goal in life. But a pure devotee also does not want liberation. He is a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and he does not demand anything from the Lord. This position was realized by Dhruva Maharaj when he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present personally before him, because he was elevated to the Vasudeva platform. The Vasudeva platform refers to the stage at which material contamination is conspicuous by absence only, or in other words, where there is no question of the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And one can therefore see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because on the Vasudeva platform one can see God face to face, and Lord is also called Vasudeva.
Thank you. So, Dhruva, he wasn't interested in mukti, though, or liberation. He didn't think of mukti, or even, he didn't know what was, even, Srila Prabhupada says. And this mukti is not desired by the pure devotee. But Dhruva Maharaj was elevated to the highest stage to the Vasudeva platform, right? Srila Prabhupada is explaining. And he says that, Srila Prabhupada says, because on the Vasudeva platform, one can see God face to face, and the Lord is also called Vasudeva. So we can appreciate that mukti, or liberation, is just a simple byproduct, right, of devotional service. What we really want to do as devotees is see God face to face, right? How amazing would that be? Matter of fact, it is so amazing we can do it right now by seeing Kalachandaji face to face. However, Dhruva has a different experience where Krishna is speaking to him. Maybe Kalachandaji can speak to you, but as for me right now, he's doesn't speak in the way that is being spoken to Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, let's go to the third or fourth paragraph, please. So third and fourth paragraph, we'll read now.
Dhruva Maharaj's demand was for a position so exalted that it was never enjoyed even by Lord Brahma, his great-grandfather. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so affectionate and kind towards his devotee, especially to a devotee like Dhruva Maharaj, who went to render devotional service in the forest alone at the age of only 5 years, that although the motive might be impure, the Lord does not consider the motive. He is concerned with the service. But if a devotee has particular motive, the Lord directly or indirectly knows it, and therefore he does not leave the devotee's material desires unfulfilled. These are some of the special favors by the Lord to a devotee. Dhruva Maharaj was offered Dhruvloka, a planet that was never resided upon by any conditioned soul. Even Brahma, although the topmost living creature within this universe, was not allowed to enter the Dhruvlok. Whenever there is a crisis within this universe, the demigods go to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shirodakshai Vishnu, and they stand on the beach of the Milk Ocean. So the fulfillment of Dhruva Maharaj's demand, a position more exalted than that of even his great-grandfather Brahma, was offered to him.
So Srila Prabhupada says here that the Lord does not consider the motive of the devotee. It's pretty amazing, right? It should give some relief to us, right? At least it did to me when I was like, oh, if I come to Krishna, he only sees me for my best. He doesn't see me for my material desires or my contamination or my mixed bhakti. He simply sees me as the best version of myself, as a pure soul. And he knows what we want. He knows what we're asking for, and he knows, and he'll fulfill it. It says, Srila Prabhupada says in this purport, right? We see this in Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj wanted a planet. he just follows the instructions by his spiritual master, Narada Muni, and then he meets the Lord, and the Lord says, what? What do you want, Dhruva? And he says, never mind. Forget it. I don't even remember, you know. He says, no, you wanted something. No, don't worry about it. He says, no, tell me, what did you want? And so Krishna gives him, even knowing what Dhruva wanted, he gives him the planet of Dhruva Loka, right? The Srila Prabhupada will explain a little bit more about Dhruva Loka later in the purport. Okay, so let's go to paragraphs 5 and 6.
Here in this verse, the Lord is described as Mukti Patti, which means one under whose lotus feet there are all kinds of mukti. There are 5 kinds of mukti: Sayujya, Sarupya, Salukya, Samipya, and Sarshti. Out of these 5 muktis, which can be achieved by any person engaged in devotional service to the Lord, the one which is known as Sayujya is generally demanded by Mayavadi philosophers. They demand to become one with the impersonal Brahman effulgence of the Lord. In the opinion of many scholars, this Sayujya Mukti, although counted among the 5 kinds of Mukti, is not actually Mukti, because from Sayujya Mukti one may again fall down to this material world. This information we have from Srimad Bhagavatam 10-32, wherein it is said, Patanyati Adaha, which means they again fall down. The monist philosopher, after executing severe austerity, merges into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. But the living entity always wants reciprocation in loving affairs. Therefore, although the monist philosopher is elevated to the status of being one with the effulgence of the Lord, because there is no facility for associating with the Lord and rendering service unto him, he again falls into this material world, and his service propensity is satisfied by materialistic welfare activities like humanitarianism, altruism, and philanthropy. There are many instances of such fall downs, even for great sannyasis in the Mayavad school.
Therefore, therefore Vaishnava philosophers do not accept Sayuja Mukti to be within the category of Mukti. According to them, Mukti means transferal to the loving service of the Lord from one's position of serving Maya. Lord Chaitanya also says in this connection that the constitutional position of a living entity is to render service to the Lord. That is real Mukti. When one is situated in his original position, giving up artificial positions, he is called Mukta, or liberated. In the Bhagavad Gita, this is confirmed. Anyone who engages in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord is considered to be Mukta, or Brahmabhuta. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee is considered to be on the Brahmabhuta platform when he has no material contamination. In the Padma Purana, this is also confirmed. Mukti means engagement in the service of the Lord.
So we have these 5 different kinds of liberation. And what is liberation? How does Srila Prabhupada explain liberation? Says it, anybody catch? He has no material contamination, right? It says in one spot that they're free from the 3 modes of material nature. And so being liberated from the 3 modes of material nature, there's different ways that people can desire this. And Srila Prabhupada speaking of the specific liberation, and that we merge with the Supreme Lord in his Brahman effulgence. And but this isn't very desired by the devotee, right? Why isn't it very desired by the devotee? Anybody catch what Srila Prabhupada said? There's no loving reciprocation, right? He says there's no facility for associating with the Lord and rendering service unto him. He again falls into the material world, and his service propensity is satisfied by materialistic welfare activities like humanitarianism, altruism and philanthropy. So there's no activity, no service with the Lord, no sharing of reciprocation, and then they get bored and they fall again into the material world. Oh, geez. So the pure devotee has no desire for any of these 5 different kinds of liberation. And Srila Prabhupada mentions again in the Padma Puran, this is also confirmed, mukti means engagement in the service of the Lord. So as before I said, we can understand that service of the Lord, mukti or liberation, is just a byproduct. The devotee doesn't even have to worry about being freed from the 3 material modes. They just continually focus on bhakti, and this automatically happens, right? Okay, the 6th and 7th paragraph, please.
The great sage Maitreya explained that Dhruva Maharaj did not desire in the beginning to engage in the service of the Lord, but he wanted exalted position better than his great grandfathers. This is more or less not service to Lord, but service to the senses. Even if one gets the position of Brahma, the most exalted position in the material world, he is conditioned so. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says that if one is elevated to real pure devotional service, he considers even great demigods like Brahma and Indra to be on an equal level with an insignificant insect. The reason is the insignificant insect has a desire for sense gratification, and even a great personality like Lord Brahma also wants to dominate the material nature. Sense gratification.
Just a second. Since thank you, I appreciate it. Since we're at almost 8:15, what I'm going to do is summarize the last few paragraphs, and then we'll open it up for discussion. So, Srila Prabhupada explains in the 6th and 7th paragraph that the sense gratification is a desire to dominate over material nature. And this sense gratification is the same even in Lord Brahma to the ant, this desire to dominate the material world. And in today's human civilization, we can see this through modern science, this desire to dominate. You can even say that in modern day capitalism is this desire to dominate material nature through extracting so much pleasure out of it. But Dhruva Maharaj, seeing his sense gratification and desire for material sense gratification, he realized it was like broken glass. And so we can also understand that our material sense gratification is like broken glass compared to the diamond that Krishna is. And so why was, in the last few paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada explains, why was Dhruva Maharaj embarrassed? What was so embarrassing to Dhruva Maharaj? Anybody have any suggestions or thought why Dhruva Maharaj was so embarrassed? Yes. So he's in front of Krishna, and he's desiring something so small, the supreme, that he's embarrassed by this. Any other suggestions on Dhruva Maharaj's embarrassment? Because there's a few of them. Thank you, Mother Kunti.
Was part of it because he had still held on to his feelings of maybe anger revenge towards his stepmother?
Yeah, he wanted this revenge still, right? A few other examples Srila Prabhupada says is that he went to Madhavan. He was in Madhavan, a spiritual oasis, and when you travel to the spiritual dhams, what should you ask for? Material benefit? Probably not. You should be seeking spiritual advancement, right? And he renounced. Dhruva Maharaj was very renounced in that he renounced his father's kingdom, but yet he was renouncing it because he just wanted to, be revengeful, and he wanted to renounce it because he wanted something even bigger. And then, last but not least, he got the benediction of having a spiritual master as Narada Muni. Could you imagine that Narada Muni comes down and says, I'm your spiritual master, what can I do for you? And you say, well, I appreciate this instruction you're giving me, but I can't follow it. Give me more instruction. So this is quite embarrassing, right? We have so many examples that you probably, in front of your spiritual master, if you have one, have been embarrassed about. So this is Dhruva Maharaj's embarrassment. So I was thinking that we also have this embarrassing situation in material life, that we're wanting so many different material desires, and we can be ashamed. Srila Prabhupada even translates the Maha Mantra like this in my dear Lord, and the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with this material service. Please engage me in your service. So we get embarrassed by this material world in so many different ways. I mean, it's unlimited. You probably can even think about it in your own life, some of the situations that are embarrassing to you. But luckily, we can take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We have Kalashanji right here. And so I was thinking that we could maybe pray to Kalashanji that we please let my desire be your desire. I am yours and you are mine. Any other desire that is not pleasing to you, please forget this. Please only give me what is best for my pure devotional service to you. So praying like this daily or even multiple times, that my desire and Kalashanji's desire is the same, we can be very confident that Kalashanji will protect us. And he will even protect us from ourselves and our material desires. Isn't that wonderful? We can feel totally confident that we can give our heart to Kalashanji, that he will only see us in our best light. And a matter of fact, any of these material desires we want, he'll adjust them to make service to him the most attractive. So I apologize for being late. I've been asking everybody to be on time. That was quite the purport, so please forgive me. Open up to questions, answers, and discussions, thoughts. Mother Kunti, Prabhupada Priya, any other? We'll get a queue going.
Thank you for a wonderful class and very clear and understandable. Siddha Panali, I think devotees sometimes have approached certain devotees in Vrindavan and asked for their Siddha Pranali, like their original form in the spiritual world. My question is it wrong to want to know that or to pray for that realization, just so that, to give further impetus to get out of this material labyrinth?
Well, I would say the first thing came into my heart was, of course not. I want to know my spiritual place in the spiritual world. However, we should go through the right means of doing it, right? We shouldn't try to cheat or try to be manipulative to find out our spiritual identity in the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada says that if we chant 16 rounds attentively, follow six regular principles. Wow, I just added 2. Who knows what those are? Now, if we follow the 4 regular principles strictly, then all of this will be revealed to us. Everything, the next step, always our next step will be revealed to us. So we can take great confidence in following Srila Prabhupada as our spiritual master, just as good as Narada Muni, of course, and follow his instruction and understand that our embarrassing situation will be dissolved and we will see the Supreme Lord face to face in our original what was the word in our constitutional position, but what's the Sanskrit? Just sarup, in our sarup. So don't worry, we will get there. Prabhupada Priya. Hare Krishna.
Very well. So, I really appreciated the point that Prabhupada made, which you touched upon, that Krishna, he doesn't take into consideration our motive, but he sees the service. And it struck me because usually we hear the opposite, that Krishna is not so concerned with the external service that we do, but he sees the motive. He sees the mood. He's called Bhava Grahi Janardana, that he accepts the bhav, he accepts the mood of love that we offer the service, and even if the service is full of defects and a complete failure, it doesn't matter. So what I got from this was that it's both, that whatever the situation is, Krishna accepts the good thing. So if our service is bad, but our mood is good, he overlooks the defective service and he accepts the mood. If our service is good, but our motivation is wrong, he overlooks the wrong motivation and he accepts the service. So what a great friend Krishna is. You just got to take shelter of him and no one else.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts? Just you have a question? So, how lucky are we? Our best friend, our shelter, right here on this altar, Kalashanji. He just says, come to me. He says, don't worry about your desires or your material defects or your contaminations or this. Just come to me. Just come to me. Just come to me. And it's so nice because we can take great confidence. We can be greatly confident that I, too, can get to a platform of pure devotional service. I have so many shortcomings, so many things to overcome in my service, but if I just keep coming to the shelter of Radha Kalashanji's lotus feet, then surely all of these things, they will just disappear. So don't let it stop you. Don't let it stop you or get you down or distract you from your devotional service, because we can be like that, right? Our contamination, our faults can distract us even from our devotional service. But the point is that the devotional service will clean us from those. So we need to keep on coming back, coming back, coming back. We need to just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Just keep chanting. Just keep on doing devotional service. Krishna will clean our heart. I mentioned before that sometimes we might be in this depressed state or in so many different, having so many different troubles. But the most important thing is that we're putting ourselves in the position for Krishna to see us. We come to this temple and he sees us. This is darshan. And when Krishna sees us, he sees us as our best. And so just keep on putting yourself in a position to be seen by Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says, don't try to see Krishna. Just try to do something that Krishna will want to see you. So what he wants to see from us now is coming to the temple, chanting our rounds, following the instructions by Srila Prabhupada, and just keep doing it. So I was trying to give some words of encouragement right there, and hopefully that will take us to the end of class. But we can end a little bit early, unless somebody, Drissa, has a comment?
I guess we can relate to Dhruva's situation in that, oh my God, Krishna's right in front of him. Narada Muni is his spiritual master. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. And he himself is saying, wow, like I'm in this incredible situation, but somehow I messed it up. Somehow I prayed wrong. And then we can similarly look at ourselves and say, Kalachandji is like right in front of us right now. Or I chant japa, Krishna's in his names, Krishna's personally present there. So, and our spiritual master is Srila Prabhupada, the founder acharya of ISKCON. So it's like, we're also in this amazingly incredible situation, but we don't realize it. And also, I'll speak for myself at least, that when I'm chanting, I'm not praying for the right thing. And so I feel like I'm in a similar situation as Dhruva Maharaj, and I'm kind of wondering, how can I realize the opportunity I'm in and take full advantage of it?
The best way is to be grateful, because Kalashanji is giving us so many gifts. He's so kind to us. I mean, we're here at Srimad Bhagavatam class. There's millions, and there's unlimited living entities right now that are engrossed in trying to gratify their senses. And even us at Srimad Bhagavatam, we might be trying to gratifying our senses in some way or shape or form. But we're here because Krishna is allowing us to be here, and we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's actually nice because we do need to gratify the senses, right? We're pleasure seeking. And so we can gratify our senses by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing this wonderful story of Dhruva Maharaj and hearing from Srila Prabhupada, and we can be grateful for it. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving us this morning program. Thank you for giving me this facilitating. Dhruva Maharaj goes to Madhavan's forest. We're here at Radhakala Sanji Dham in this beautiful temple. Like you mentioned, Dhruva Maharaj was receiving Narada Muni as a spiritual master. We have Srila Prabhupada as our spiritual master. And so our situation isn't much different than Dhruva Maharaj in so many ways. So we can really be grateful for it. Thank you, Kalashanji. I appreciate that you've given me this opportunity. And if we are grateful for it, we're really showing him that we can receive a gift and nicely. And if we can receive a gift nicely, usually the person who gives it, they appreciate you're receiving a gift nicely, and they'll give you more gifts. And they'll just keep on giving and giving and giving. Oh, this person really likes it when I give them this. So they just keep on giving more and more and more. Yeah.
Sorry to jump in. But when they see that they're distributing the mercy.
Oh, wow.
That's all. Sorry.
Sankirtan movement ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Pranande Hari Hari Bo. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha. Patitana Pavhanebhyo. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Antikoti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai.
Adi